Good morning from middle of nowhere, somewheres, Utah, like Paragonia, I think it's the town right up the road, and that's where my phone said I was yesterday. People were talking about it being cold in California at only 57 degrees Fahrenheit, and how someone posted Billings, Montana is 37. I was like, ah, I got you both beat. It's 22 degrees where I am. So yeah, it's cold. You guys can see, had a lot of snow. Hopefully you can see that on the mirror, how dirty it is. If I remember to, I'm gonna wash it off now. Hopefully, if I remember, I'll show you guys what's like clean so you can compare. But trust me, it's filthy. My windshield wiper's doing the job though with my Rain-X window washer fluid. Got some nice snow on the ground and on the windshield wipers last night. So it definitely kept snowing, but it got to a point where I was just done and tired. My Fitbit measures my level of sleep, and I initially went into a light sleep for about half an hour. Then I was in a deep sleep for like 4 hours, just deep, which a level of sleep I rarely get, judged by my Fitbit. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up and do my pre-trip, because the sooner I stop talking to you guys, the sooner I start my pre-trip, the sooner I get going, the sooner I then get home. And I'm hoping to have dinner with my family tonight. It's gonna be close, but I think it's possibly doable. It might be dessert, but oh well, we'll see how that all goes. But talk to you guys soon. Alright guys, sorry for not really vlogging today. I basically just drove my butt off and got home. Dang, everything's moving around right now. It's probably time, it means I spent some time to clean and organize my truck. Anyway, sorry about that. Oh, maybe if I don't sit on my charging cord for my phone, that probably would have helped as well. Anyway, so anyway, yeah, today's video is really short. I think what did I do? I think I just vlogged the intro where my day started. I don't even think, no I didn't. I stopped at Love's in North Las Vegas, where I've been the last couple days. Stopped there for a 30-minute break, and basically once I went inside, did my stuff. While I was on my way back out to my truck, Lois called, the lady from waiting around from Walmart, all the days waiting around there that I referred to. And we talked about stuff going on, just trucking stuff. And I hit the road and drove practically through Vegas, well on the phone with her. It was like an hour-long phone call. So I didn't vlog, and I stopped for a quickie break, and I went home. Had dinner at Chick-fil-A, all 5 of us. That rarely happens. And then I drove back to my truck. It's like 56 miles one way. And I realized I didn't vlog anything. But something I was thinking about though, times like this I kind of wish I had a tripod for my camera, is I've told you guys in the past, like a long time ago, like weeks ago, that there were a few things. I'm thinking of one in particular, but I would tell you guys like the history of and show you. I know one thing I still want to show you that I talked about, to show you like the behind the scenes thing from like from a YouTube perspective, the analytics page. I know that Troy and John use them quite a bit. I don't know how much Josh looks at his. I'd assume he looks at his quite a bit. But I'll show you guys, with me being young and new and fresh in terms of vlogging. I'll just show you guys everything, my numbers, because as expected for someone who's new, they're going to be really, really low. And I'll, show you guys everything. I still want to do that. But right now, this is going to be the end of the vlog. If you don't want to, hear this, you're not going to miss anything. But I'm going to tell you my story about trucking, and just my whole story. So, when I was young, I always wanted to. I've always found big trucks fascinating. People would ask what you want to be when you grow up. People would say, astronaut, lawyer, athlete, a clown, all that fun stuff. I wanted to be the garbage man. No joke. That was my answer for like 1st through like 7th grade. Like, I want to be the garbage man. So anyway, life went on after that. And out of high school, I was doing a bunch of odd jobs. Was always able to make payments on my truck. I have a 2012 F-150, brand new. But I got to a point where I need a real job. And like, trucking I think would be kind of fun from what I see as a car. Drive around the road. Like, it'd be cool to drive a truck. So I went on YouTube one day and typed in the day in the life of a truck driver. I found a bunch of people, watched a lot of people, 1, 2, 3 videos each. And I found this guy named Trucker Josh. I think some of you guys have heard of him. I know I talk about him quite a bit. He's a vlogger, makes videos every day. He's like a year and a half, no, he's like 3 years older than me. But overall, generally the same age. And I kind of felt, drawn to that. Someone who's my age and whatnot. Excuse me a second. Don't know where that's coming from. I've never been one to have allergy issues, but the last couple of days, constant runny nose. But that's it. And driving, I've had burning eyes. Anyway, sorry. Back on track, Evan. Focus. So I started watching Josh. Watched Josh's videos religiously every day for a couple years. And then he went to VidCon in Anaheim. He and I met up, as a lot of you guys know. You guys have to scroll back to, if you guys want to go to his channel, youtube.com, Trucker Josh, and you'll find it. I think you could just Google Trucker Josh and you'll find it. It'll pull up his information. If you were to scroll back to his videos, he's made them every day, so you'd be scrolling for a while. The name of the video is Sunburnt in Hollywood, the video where he and I met, and it was in the summer of, give me a second, of 2015. Then met Josh and Britt in 2016, right after I started at Interstate. Then so the summer of 2015, we hung out 3 times in 2 different days there. And if you watch the video where I think it was like 2 days after that, after the Sunburnt in Hollywood one, there was another guy there, and he had just gone to trucking school, and he went to Night Transportation. I think it's the one. That video is called Ice Cream and Parrots in Venice, or Parrots and Ice Cream in Venice, but one of the two. Anyway, he kind of got me sold on Night Transportation. At that point, I was pretty certain. From talking to Josh, asking him questions, from things I'd observed in his vlogs I wasn't really sure about. We talked quite a bit about that. I went to trucking school. And my trucking school did not recommend Night Transportation. At the same time, they didn't say don't go to Night. They just recommended who to go to. I decided to be a rebel, and I went to Night Transportation. This was a little interesting because my trucking school used what we call pup trailers. It's what you see basically FedEx and UPS driving, the short trailers. Usually there's 2 of them in California. 3 of them pretty much everywhere else. And I got my CDL using one of those trailers. My first day of orientation at night, they hooked me up to a 53-foot trailer and take me on a road test, which I passed. I complete orientation, no problem. I go out with my trainer. Overall, we got along. It wasn't the greatest experience, but it worked for me and him. We both learned a lot from each other. By the end of it, he had got himself his own satellite radio and a subscription to it. For me, I'd gotten the Bluetooth that he recommended. It's a Bluetooth I still have to this day. He decided he needed to get rid of his car GPS and get a real trucker GPS after influence from me as a student. And he and I are still in touch. We're friends on Facebook. And we're still in touch as much as we can be for just that trucker-student relationship. We did have some moments where we couldn't deal with each other, but I mean, like any real men do, we got past that, we got through it, talked about it, dealt with it, moved on. Anyway, and I was his first student to complete the required amount of time on the truck with him, which I believe was 28 days, if I remember correctly. I was his second student overall. His first student couldn't survive being away from his girlfriend and kids, or wife and kids, whatever his situation was. He couldn't be away from home. So I go to take my test, and everything went well, I thought, but the guy wasn't impressed with my backing, and he failed me. A different guy, but it's the exact same test that I had passed in orientation. And one thing I should say though too, that one of the standards that Night had was that you could only pull up 3 times, and if you pulled up, stopped, pulled up again, in that order, without stopping to get out and look or anything, that was counted as 2 pull-ups for you to and you got use more than 3, you failed. And they would also pick spots so tight, and I'm not a large guy by any stretch. I'm 5'7", too much. Last time I saw, I weighed in at 188. When I started trucking, I was at like 175. So I need to, yeah, that's a conversation for another time. I don't know what I weigh now though, but anyway. And I could not walk in between the trailers on either side. Like, it was just a very tight hole that even talking to guys in the terminal in Fontana, just up the road from where I am now, they would not park their trailers and trucks into that part of the yard. So I go out with a second trainer. He's the guy that his job is to find the mistakes that the other trainers miss, or find what the other trainers miss and work on it. And I was supposed to be with him for 2 weeks. After two or 3 days, he asked me if I wanted to team drive, because he had had me trip plan our first trip up to Washington. He had also made me drive as much of it as possible, and he couldn't find any issues with me anywhere. Trip planning, doing a pre-trip, backing, driving, anything. He could not find a problem with me. So we team drove for basically a week and a half. Went up to Washington, down to Sacramento, back up to Washington, and then back to Fontana, I believe, if I remember correctly. Although we should have done more than that. No, we did something more. No, we did Southern California to Washington, Sacramento, back to Washington, to Phoenix, to, after Phoenix we went north again. No! Ah, crap it, no, because we came home coming from the north, but we went to Phoenix. I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. I was on his truck for a week and a half, not even the 2 weeks I was supposed to have been on his truck. And he said I was good to go right from my own truck. There was nothing new for him to teach me. And I took the test, the back end test again, and again, the same guy failed me. So at this point, it's like, this is really frustrating. I've been out with 2 trainers. First one, you know, okay, I'm its first student, okay, whatever. The second guy's like the trainer of all trainers, and he can't find anything wrong, says I'm ready for my own truck. What the heck? But this time on the backing test, I did hit a trailer in the name of just trying to squeeze it in and not pull up too many times or anything like that. And literally, like, I kissed it. Like, the trailer got a scratch. You guys ever, you know, look at a truck, you know, at a trailer, like from one of these larger companies, like a Knight, Swift, Schneider, Warner, JB Hunt, CFI, Heartland Express, formerly, and also Interstate. Like, a lot of the trailers have little scratches on them. Mine was a scratch. Like, I did not even bend metal. I didn't hit it by much. And that was an automatic fail. So then the tester guide said that he could fix my backing situation, because the only thing he had a problem with was my backing. He had no problem with anything else that I was doing, with 10 hours of practice, or working with him. So I said okay to that I would work with him for 10 hours. But after that, I was not going to let him test me. I was going to go to either Phoenix or Las Vegas and get tested by someone else who had never seen me before. Because it is really the first time in my life I've ever felt discriminated against. The tester was black. I'll say it, because there's no reason for me not to have passed the first time, and he failed me, so it didn't make any sense whatsoever. So then the day comes to work with him for 10 hours. After 4.5 hours, I still need help, because he's having me do things a completely different way than from what I had learned. And I'm still figuring it out, but I'm getting the hang of it. I'm kind of at that stage, getting the hang of it, but still figuring it out. He tested me without telling me I was being tested, and he had been to this point when I'm about to hit a trailer, he would flag me down. This time he didn't flag me down. I bumped the trailer again. It's the exact same story. Didn't even bend metal or aluminum. You know, well, aluminum is metal, but again, we're talking scratches, like no true damage. And I'm thinking, what the heck? Not exactly in those words, because we're not even halfway to 10 hours. And he says, no, you hit that trailer. This was your test. You're done. And long story short, Knight let me go. So yeah, it's kind of cute when they'll send me the occasional email about coming back to work for them. I let them know every time I would crawl, you know, everywhere I went for the rest of my life before I will work for them again. And I've let them know that in emails when they try to sell me on them being a great company. It's like, yeah, I know you guys aren't. Nah. So that's my story with Knight. So then from that taste I got with Knight, though, with the trainers, I knew that it was over the road trucking that I wanted to do, at least for a while, for this stage of my life. And I applied everywhere, and from accurately maybe 5 or 6 companies, I got a thanks but no thanks, because I was with Knight long enough, literally by like 2 days. I was there for like 47 days, and if I was there for 45 or less, the story would have been different. Basically, yeah, thanks but no thanks. It's like, since you have experience, we can't take you until you have 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, whatever the company's standard was. Or if you had come to us straight from trucking school, we could have taken you as a student. I got that answer from, like, yeah, 6, I forget how many, 6, 7, 8 or so companies. Somewhere, yeah, something like that, a good handful. And then the only thing I could get job-wise was a dedicated account doing Dollar General with Schneider. So I went to Schneider, started at day 1, did their 3-week orientation, at 1 week of classroom and some yard driving training experience, a week with a trainer, and then another week to brush up on whatever skills the trainer said you need to brush up on, and then you test out and you're in your own truck by the end of the 3rd week. For me, on a dedicated account, I had that 3rd week, at the end of that 3rd week, instead of getting my own, testing out and getting my own truck, wait, no, I take that back, At the end of that 3rd week, I tested out, but instead of getting my own truck, I got put onto a mentor's truck. Long story short, that all went well. Neither my trainer at Schneider or my mentor at Schneider really taught me anything in terms of driving. They just taught me the Dollar General aspect of things. They did have to work on me with shifting, though. I got my CDL on a 10-speed, which is what I drive now. I don't know how I got it. I would have failed myself, honestly. I stalled on my drive test, and I somehow still passed. I should not have passed. But that's my only thing, is I stalled. But it's like, that's driving with a standard 101. You don't stall your vehicle, in my opinion. But I still passed, somehow. But then the entire time I was with Knight, I only ever drove automatics. So whatever I knew about shifting, I had totally forgotten. So when I was at Schneider, I knew some of it, but I did have to, it was a challenge, especially shifting with a load up hills. That was a little different. But I mean, right now I could do it in my sleep, but at the time it was a challenge. Anyway, so when I took my test at Schneider, I got the lady that everyone said, all the past other drivers, just from the interminglings with them, and what the instructor said was the hardest one to pass. Like, of course, just my luck. So long story short, after my test with her, which consisted of everything, they gave us a trip, we had to trip plan it accurately. Like, there was a right answer and a wrong answer, or several wrong answers, but one right answer. To do a coupling and uncoupling to a trailer, pre-trip, backing, and a drive. I did that all. Long story short, I passed. But before she told me I passed, she asked me if I drove before. I told her that I had like 37 days, I think, with trainers from Knight Transportation. But when I took the test to get my own truck, they didn't like my backing abilities. And she said, your backing was amazing. And second of all, when we take students out on drives to test them, we pretty much decide within the first minute, to try to gauge you guys, like, how nervous are you? And if you're really nervous, we're going to go on a longer drive and give you guys a chance to shake that nervousness off. and then we'll say, go into the skilled areas of things and see what you do. And I was like, okay. And well, what's this have to do with me? It was kind of my attitude. I think I just smiled and said, okay. I don't remember for sure. But then she told me, she's like, you are the shortest drive and the shortest test I have given in about somewhere between 6 to 8 months. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry, my camera stopped recording for whatever reason, and I'm so glad I caught it in time. So anyway, yeah, I was her shortest drive in 6 to 8 months, and as I asked her, like, is that good or bad? And she's like, you passed with flying colors. Sweet! So I went out, did the mentor thing, got my own truck, put in my experience, and went to Interstate Distributor. I went to Interstate, did an orientation, did everything went good. I still get nervous to this day on the road test, because that's where I stumbled at night. But I have never failed a road test other than my time at night. Everything it gave my driver's license, I passed the first time. At Schneider, I passed the road test on my first time. Interstate and where I currently am, I all passed it the first time without issue. But anyway, at Interstate, the only issue the guy had was he didn't think I downshifted enough when I came to stops, but that was enough to still get my own truck and not have a problem. So, went to Interstate, best trucking of my life to date. The first year or so I was there, I was hauling refrigerated freight, mostly up and down the I-5. That part sucked, but the company I worked for was amazing. I was on a first-name basis with people in most every terminal, I believe, except in our Wilsonville, Oregon, just south of Portland terminal. Ran into drivers all over. Kind of definitely became like a family. Definitely a family-like atmosphere, good money, but the route kind of sucked. The last 6 months I was there, they started to baby us like there was no tomorrow. And for that detail, I would encourage you to go back and watch my video back in the days doing one takes on my cell phone. It's why I left Interstate, or why I'm leaving Interstate. Go back and watch that video. Went over all the reasons why I was quitting. I filmed that video before I officially quit, and I didn't release it until I quit, just in case. And it sucked. Like, Interstate took experienced drivers only, then they're talking to us like we're 5. My favorite thing to mention is their weekly phone call reminder to remind us the posted speed limit for trucks in California is 55 miles an hour. They were, hindsight 2020, I'm convinced that they were making up a lot of stuff to get us to believe them and to slow down so that they save money, which would help them being bought out, in the process of being bought out by Heartland. Is 100% my theory, 100% my opinion, and that's that. So the writing was on the wall that Interstate was not in a good spot. A lot of drivers were leaving, particularly a lot of them were going to a company called RTI, and if I had an established family in Southern California, I'd probably be driving for RTI instead of where I'm at now, just because then I'd be home, I'd be making good money. The guy that made the Interstate Refrigerated Division great, Ed Myers, he's in charge of the refrigerated division at RTI. So a lot of Interstate's old customers, along with Interstate's old drivers, just newer and better equipment. They don't monitor you hardly at all. The trucks are governed at like 75 miles an hour on the pedal, I think, and 78 on the cruise, something like that. They're governed at a much quicker speed. I think I'd be there, to be honest with you guys. Anyway, so then I got really tired of the West Coast, got tired of Interstate, got tired of the way that they were functioning, the way I was being treated, the disrespect I felt like I was being treated as an object, not even like as a person anymore, other than being called by my first name. Just how I was being talked to and treated, was being treated like I was 5. It got really annoying and really old. I ended up quitting. I officially resigned the day that they announced they got bought out by Heartland, although I had cleaned out my truck with no intent of coming back about 2 weeks prior to that. I wanted to make sure that I cashed out on all my sick time and vacation time. I've heard that they could be difficult when it came to that, so I wanted to make them think I was coming back until make sure I got paid for that pretty easily. I told him I was going on vacation. It was an annual thing, which was 100% the truth. And I was going to take all my sick time and my vacation time with me that week. And my paid vacation time, if I didn't mention that. Because I'm tired, guys. I'm sorry. So if this has been a little mumbly, I'll have to, oh yeah, we'll see. Whew. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm where I'm at now. Basically, I'm supposed to be driving all 48 states, although for the last 2.5 weeks I've been out. I've seen the Mountain Time Zone like 2 days. Other than that, I've been in the Pacific Time Zone. In other words, I'm not seeing all 48 states. So the cool thing about my current situation, which I haven't told you guys about. Oh well, I'll tell you guys about it tomorrow, because in case someone doesn't want to watch this, I'll tell you guys, you'll hear about it tomorrow. My truck got serviced at Love's when I was waiting at Walmart. Love's, for whatever reason, never sent in the paperwork to my company that they serviced the truck. So my company doesn't think it's been serviced, which is dumb. But then, so I get to our terminal here in Fontana. I got a load that delivers tomorrow. And so I go into the shop and just say, hey, what's going on? And they say my truck is due for more than just a regular service. It's got a bunch of special things that only, you know, my company can do or a dealer can do that a Love's or a TA Petro will not do. So after I deliver my load tomorrow, I'm checking the truck into the shop and then going home for a day or two till whenever they're done with it. So yeah, I'm sure. Excuse me. Yeah, that'll be reset tomorrow morning, hopefully. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. The more time continues, to be honest with you guys, the more I'm continually getting over the stresses of over-the-road trucking. To me, it's just not worth it anymore. For the hours I work, the stuff I got to put up with, and for how little of a paycheck I get at the end of the day, I am not in love with this industry enough to make it worth it, to be completely honest. How do I say it, though? I've bounced around more than I'm happy. I'm not happy about my history, but at the same time, you know, all my changings of companies were justified. But the next place I go to, I want it to be one of those places where I'll be retiring from. So I'm definitely not going to be jumping ship quickly. I have a goal in mind, and I'm going to stick to that. And when the time comes, you guys will know. But right now is not that time to know the inner working in details. It's just not publicly. It's all really all it boils down to. So anyway, guys, that was my vlog for today. I thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, I've gotten a couple comments the last couple of days, guys, and I'll be honest with you, when I see that I have a new comment, I light up like a little 7-year-old child on Christmas. Like, that's no joke. When I get videos without comments, it's borderline like a little depressing. But then I see all the thumbs ups, and it's like, well, they're watching and they like it. Cool. But then I see a comment, and it's like, oh, who commented? Who commented? Yeah, that's honestly kind of like what's, you know, what it is. But I mean, obviously I can't respond to your comments right away, but my goal is to respond to comments right away. Or not right away, but to respond to them all individually and personally. And preferably within a timely manner, like within a day. So I'm going to end this video, guys. I'm going to go to sleep, went home, showered. Whoa! Yeah, gonna go run inside real quick, brush my teeth, deliver my load in the morning, and we'll see what happens. But appreciate you guys all for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, because all I'll be doing is delivering my load and turning my truck in for service and going home. And when I'm at home, usually I don't vlog. Tomorrow's a Saturday, so maybe do some errands. I will likely be getting my room cleaned up, because I may be moving to Tennessee. More on that to follow. But anyway, talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.